here BOH equals 13. Here to find the concentration of hydrogen ion and concentration of hydroxide ion, 1 times 10 to the power negative 5, and the pH of 9. And how to find the BOH. Here's the solution of this question. In number 2, my dear student, the concentration of hydrogen ion equal 10 to the power negative 14 over the concentration of OH negative. So it will be 1 times 10 to the power negative 9. While the concentration of hydroxide ion in number 1 equal 10 to the power negative 14 over 1 times 10 to the power negative 1, so equal 1 times 10 to the power negative 13. Where the pH of the solution, it is negative log the concentration of hydrogen ion, so negative log 1 times 10 to the power negative 1 equal 1. And in number 2, the BOH value equal negative log concentration of negative hydroxide ion. So negative log 1 times 10 to the power negative 5 equal 5. Next type of question. What is the role of each of the following? Potassium permanganate in bioreaction. Yes, it is oxidizing agent. As we know, my dear student, that the ethylene reacts with dilute potassium permanganate in alkaline medium, giving ethylene glycol, where the oxidation of ethylene takes place, forming the dihydric alcohol ethylene glycol. Zymase enzyme in the production of alcohol industry. We know, my dear students, glucose solution is fermented easily by the action of zymase enzyme, forming ethyl alcohol and carbon dioxide. Next type of question. What is meant by each of the following? Molecular formula, equilibrium state. Molecular formula, it is the formula which indicates the number and the kind of atoms for the elements which form the chemical compound and doesn't show the kind of linkage between the atoms in the molecule, as the structure formula shows the kind of the linkage between the atoms in the molecule. The equilibrium state. It is a stationary system, apparently, but dynamic system in its reality. Next type of question. What are the substances 1, 2, 3, and 4 which complete the following diagram? In the number 1, we know, my dear students, that toluene that oxidized by atmospheric air into benzoic acid. This takes place by using catalyst. What is it? And in number 2, here the benzoic acid forming sodium benzoate. How can we do this? In number 3, when sodium benzoate reacts with sodium hydroxide, in the presence of what? It gives benzene, number 3. And when benzene is changed into toluene, what are going to do to add on the reaction? So to solve this question, the toluene, when oxidized by atmospheric air, this takes place in the presence of catalyst, vanadium pentoxide at 400 degrees Celsius. And when benzoic acid reacts with sodium hydroxide, it gives sodium benzoate and releasing water. Then sodium benzoate on dry distillation reacting with sodium hydroxide in the presence of calcium oxide and heat, it gives benzene. Then benzene, when reaction of Friedel-Crafts reaction, when reacts with methyl chloride in the presence of anhydrous aluminum chloride, it gives toluene. Next type of question. Compare between the following: chemical equilibrium and ionic equilibrium. The chemical equilibrium, it is dynamic system obtained when the rate of forward reaction equals the rate of backward reaction, and the concentration of reactant and the product are unchanged. Ionic equilibrium, It is the equilibrium arising between the molecules of weak electrolyte and ions resulting from it. Next type of questions. What are the solution types of the following compounds? Acidic or basic or neutral? Ammonium nitrate, potassium chloride. The solution of the question: ammonium nitrate is acidic. My dear student, we know that when hydrolyzing ammonium nitrate salt, it gives ammonium hydroxide, which is weak electrolyte, which is weak base, partially ionized, so not formed or formed, it will be formed, while the nitric acid, when hydrolyzed, so ammonium nitrate, is strong acid and is completely ionized, so it is not formed. And the solution, my dear student, will be acidic due to the presence of concentrated nitric acid, as positive hydrogen ion make it acidic and pH is less than 7. My dear student, when talking about solution of potassium chloride, we know that it hydrolyzed in water into potassium hydroxide, which is a strong alkali, not forming concentration of hydroxide ion, and also hydrochloric acid is formed, which is a strong acid and forming concentration of hydrogen ion that equal the concentration of hydroxide ion, so the solution will be neutral and pH equals 7. Next type of question. Illustrate by balanced chemical equation how you can obtain the following. Picric acid from chlorobenzene. The answer here, my dear student, chlorobenzene, when alkaline hydrolysis of chlorobenzene by 300 degrees Celsius and 300 atmospheric pressure, it gives phenol and releasing sodium chloride. Then phenol 1 nitration by conc nitric acid in the presence of concentrated sulfuric acid, it gives 2,4,6 trinitrophenol, which is picric acid, releasing 3 molecules of water. Next type of question. Choose the correct answer, then write the balanced chemical equation which illustrates your choice. When hydrobromic acid reacts with bromine, what is produced? Propyl bromide, 1,2-dibromopropene, 2-bromopropane, 1-bromopropane. If you solve this question, my dear student, you will find the answer. It will be 2-bromopropane. As we apply Markovnikov rule here, as the hydrogen is added to the carbon rich in hydrogen, while the bromine atom is added to the carbon poor in hydrogen, so it forms 2-bromopropane. Here, my dear student, the propene, when adding hydrogen bromide gas or hydrobromic acid, applying Markovnikov rule, it will form 2-bromopropane. Next point. When water dropped on calcium carbide, gas is produced: methane, ethane, ethene, ethane. My dear student, if you think about the answer, yes, it will be ethane. This is the preparation of ethane or acetylene gas in lab, as the water reacts with calcium carbide, produce acetylene gas, and calcium hydroxide is produced. As the equation proceeds on the screen, my dear student, calcium carbide plus water, it gives acetylene gas plus calcium hydroxide. Next point, when iron 3 hydroxide is heated above 200 degrees Celsius, what is produced? Iron 2 oxide, magnetic iron oxide, iron 3 oxide, iron 2 hydroxide. Yes, the answer, it will be iron 3 hydroxide. As the equation proceeds on the screen, iron 3 hydroxide above 200 degrees Celsius, it gives iron 3 oxide and water. Next type of question. What is the number of hydrogen moles necessary to react with 1 mole of each of the following to obtain saturated compound? Aromatic benzene? Yes, the answer it will be 3 moles of hydrogen. As we know, my dear student, the benzene ring contains 3 pi bonds. So each pi bond to be broken needs 1 mole of hydrogen. So we need 3 moles of hydrogen. 2 pentyne. As we know, my dear student, that the pentyne contains triple bond, which is containing 1 sigma bond and 2 pi bond. So each pi bond is broken with 1 mole of hydrogen, so we need 2 mole of hydrogen. Next type of question, my dear student. Give reasons for the following. Copper is considered a transition element, although its electronic structure of the outer shell is copper 3d10 for S1. The reason for that because the D sublevel is filled in the free state of copper metal, but in the oxidation state positive 2, the sublevel D will be partially filled, will be D9. Next point, the polynitro organic compounds are very explosive substances because the polynitro organic compounds contain their own fuel, which is carbon besides the oxygen, which is oxidizing agent. These compounds burn rapidly and a great amount of heat and gases are produced, accompanied by explosion. This is due to the weakness of the bond NO to form 2 strong bonds CO in carbon dioxide and the NN bond in nitrogen molecule. So the 2 reasons make the reaction give large amount of heat and explosion. Next type of question. How can you differentiate practically between ethanol and 2-methyl 2-butanol? Yes, by adding acidified potassium permanganate solution to both of them. If the violet color of potassium permanganate disappears, it is ethanol, while if the violet color doesn't disappear, it will be 2-methyl 2-butanol. Next type of question, it is problem. Calculate the equilibrium constant for the following reaction. H2 plus I2 gives 2HI, provided that concentration of iodine hydrogen and hydrogen iodide at the equilibrium are 0.1105, 0.1105 and 0.7815 mole per liter respectively. As the equation shown on the screen, the equilibrium constant Kc equal Hi power 2 concentration over the concentration of hydrogen times concentration of iodine. So equal 0.7815 power 2 over 0.1105 times 0.1105, so equal 50. Next type of question. One of the following compounds is used as initiator to obtain a mixture of ortho and para chlorotoluene: naphthalene, normal hexane, cyclic hexane. Write the balanced equation to illustrate this reaction. Here, normal hexane by heating, which catalytic reforming method gives benzene and releasing 4H2. Then benzene plus methyl chloride in the presence of anhydrous aluminum chloride and heat gives toluene and releasing HCl. Then the toluene by chlorination in the presence of iron, it gives orthochlorotoluene and parachlorotoluene releasing 2 moles of HCl. Next type of question, which is problem. 4 grams of impure sodium chloride were dissolved in water and an excess of silver nitrate solution was added to precipitate 9.256 grams of silver chloride. Calculate the percentage of sodium chloride in the sample. Here the atomic mass of sodium equal 23, chlorine equal 35.5 and silver 108 atomic mass. Solution: as the equation of the reaction NaCl plus AgNO3 gives NaNO3 plus AgCl. So the molecular mass of silver chloride in grams equal 108 plus 35.5 equal 143.5 gram. And the molecular mass of sodium chloride in grams equal 23 plus 35.5 equal 58.5 gram. So each 58.5 gram of sodium chloride gives 43.5 gram of silver chloride. Therefore, X gram of sodium chloride produce 9.256 gram of silver chloride. So the mass of sodium chloride equal 58.5 times 9.256 over 143.5 equals 3.7733 gram. Then the percentage of sodium chloride equals 3.7733 over 4 times 100 equal 94.3325%. Next type of question. From the reaction Mg2Si plus 4H2O gives MgOH all2 plus SiH4. Calculate the number of SiH4 moles produced from the reaction between 2.95 gram of Mg2Si with water. Solution: as the reaction equation, 1 mole of Mg2Si gives 1 mole of SiH4. So 2 times 24 plus 28 equals 76 gram gives 1 mole. So 2.95 gram gives X mole. So number of SiH4 moles equal 2.95 over 76 equal 0.039 mole. And the mass of water required to react with 2.95 gram of Mg2Si. How can we calculate it? By knowing the atomic mass of Mg equal 24, Si equal 28, and hydrogen equal 1, and the atomic mass of oxygen equal 16. Solution: 1 mole of Mg2Si gives 4 moles of water. So 2 times 24 plus 28 equals 76 gram gives 4 times 2 plus 16 equals 72 gram. So 2.95 gram gives X gram. So mass of water equal 2.95 times 72 over 76 equal 2.79 gram. Write the scientific term. It is the identification of the constituent of the substance if it is pure or mixture. Yes, the answer it will be qualitative analysis. It is the determination of the ratio or the percentage of components in the substance or the mixture. Yes, if you think about it, it will be quantitative analysis. The branch of chemistry that deals with methods and instruments used for identifying substances, if you think about it, yes, it will be analytical chemistry. Next type of question. From the following experiments, deduce the salt name and its chemical formula without writing the chemical equation. On adding lead 2 acetate solution to the salt solution, white precipitate is formed, and on adding ammonia solution to the salt solution, white gelatinous precipitate is formed. If you think about it, yes, the answer it will be aluminum sulfate, as the chemical formula proceeds on the screen, Al2SO4 all 3. Next point, on adding silver nitrate solution to the salt solution, white precipitate is formed, which turns violet when exposed to light, and on adding ammonium carbonate solution to the salt solution, white precipitate is formed. If you think about it, yes, it will be calcium chloride, as its chemical formula CaCl2. Mention the mathematical formula relating between the following: the volume and concentration of each acid and alkali at the end point of their titration. M1 V1 over Na equal M2 V2 over Nb, where M1 concentration of acid in mole per liter, V1 volume of acid in titration in milliliter, and Na number of moles of acid from the equation of the reaction, and M2 concentration of the alkyl used in mole per liter, and V2 volume of alkyl used in titration in milliliter, and Nb is the number of moles of alkyl from the equation of the reaction. Problems. 0.2 gram sample of impure oxalic acid COOH all2 reacted with 39.82 milliliter of 0.1023 molar caustic soda. Calculate the percentage of oxalic acid where the atomic mass of carbon equal 12, oxygen equal 16, hydrogen equal 1. Solution. The number of moles of sodium hydroxide equal concentration times volume, so equal 0.1023 times 39.82 times 10 to power negative 3 equal 0.004 mole. You must write the balanced chemical equation at first. So COOH all 2 plus 2 NaOH gives 2COONa plus 2H2O. So 1 mole of oxalic acid COOH all 2 gives 2 moles of NaOH. So here 2 times 12 plus 2 times 16 plus 1 equal 90 gram reacts with 2 moles of NaOH. So X gram reacts with 0.004 moles. So the mass of oxalic acid reacted equal 0.004 times 90 over 2 equal 0.18 gram. So percentage of oxalic acid 0.18 over 0.2 times 100 equal 90%. Another problem. Find the percentage of impurities in 2 gram ore of zinc oxide that reacted with 30 milliliter of hydrochloric acid, where 0.5 liter of hydrochloric acid contain 18.25 gram of pure HCl, where the atomic mass of hydrogen equal 1, chlorine equal 35.5, and zinc equal 65, and oxygen equal 16. Solution. Concentration equal mass over volume times the molar mass. So 18.25 over 0.5 times 1 plus 35.5 equals 1 molar. So number of moles of hydrochloric acid equal concentration times volume equal time 1 times 30 times 10 to the power negative 3 equals 0.03 moles. So we must write the chemical equation at the first. So zinc oxide plus 2 HCl gives zinc chloride plus water. So 1 mole of zinc oxide gives 2 moles, reacts with 2 moles of HCl. So 1 times 65 plus 16 equal 80 gram of zinc oxide reacts with 2 moles of HCl. So X gram reacts with 0.03 moles. So the mass of zinc oxide equals 0.03 times 81 over 2 equal 1.215 gram. So percentage of zinc oxide equal 1.215 over 2 times 100 equals 60.75%. So percentage of impurities in the ore equal 100 minus 60.75 equals 39.25%. Next problem. In the titration of 25 milliliter of 0.5 molar aqueous hydrochloric acid, exactly neutralize 20 milliliter of calcium hydroxide. Find the concentration of calcium hydroxide. Solution. You must write the chemical equation balanced at first. So 2HCl plus CaOH2 gives CaCl2 plus 2H2O. So for HCl, concentration of HCl M1 equals 0.5 molar. Volume of hydrochloric acid V1 equals 25 times 10 to the power negative 3. and number of moles of HCl in A equal 2. And for calcium hydroxide, concentration of calcium hydroxide is unknown, and volume of calcium hydroxide V2 equal 20 times 10 to power negative 3, and number of moles of calcium hydroxide in B equal 1. So M1 V1 over Na equal M2 V2 over Nb. So 0.5 times 25 times 10 to power negative 3 over 2 equal M2 times 20 times 10 to power negative 3 over 1. So concentration of calcium hydroxide M2 equal 0.5 times 25 times 1 over 20 times 2, so equal 0.312 mole per liter.
My dear students, we have finished our program today. Have you understood all different types of questions and problems that we solved today? So till meet again, my best wishes for you.